Sometimes a lot of people may try a new initiative and then they don't get an immediate reaction and they think it's a failure.
That's right.
I want to go back to your YouTube videos with the wine library. You know, you had so much content out there. How did you stick in there? How did you keep yourself motivated?
Because I believe in my strategies and I'm patient as like all great stuff, especially when you're innovating, doesn't happen right away. This notion that like, oh Gary, I tried it, I spent $500 on Facebook ads, it doesn't work. Well, what if your video sucked? What if your product and service sucks? I tend to do things that are very early. That has been my career. When I do things, I believe in them. I stick with them based on intuition. Even though for 18 months nobody watched my wine videos at all, I knew it was right, I was right. There's been things I've done that I've jumped off of very quickly. I started a Gary V app, VChat, V-E-E, like WeChat, I thought it was funny, for my fans. Great CRM one-on-one. Didn't feel right after a week or two, spent plenty of money building it. Stopped it after, a couple months. Wine Library TV, 5 years, every day, YouTube. Decided to change it to Daily Grape, insular app. You could buy stuff, subscription for reviews. It was a lot of fun. Only did it for 5 months, stopped it because it didn't feel right anymore. Okay. It's always hard to know when to jump off something new, but I find that people don't believe in what they're doing. They hear a guru and they do it begrudgingly because their boss wants them to, or they're like, well, Gary's right a lot, so let me do it, but they don't believe it. And so then they're looking for no's instead of yeses. Everything I do, every business development, every event I do, every time I try a new marketing tactic or sales tactic, I'm looking for the yes.
Right.
I'm looking for the yes, and if the no punches me, well then I'm like, crap, the no punched me. I believe the majority of people when they try new tactics are looking for the no, and you're gonna getting a lot of subtle no's immediately. It is far more fun to die on your sword than to die on someone else's. I'm inspired, YouTube. We're gonna make this the episode thing. You'll get whatever you want, Tyler, but this is the core of it. You just saw it on stage. Oh, sorry. You just saw it on stage. Dying on your sword is better than dying on someone else's. So many of you are doing things, making decisions, and navigating your lives based on somebody else's thesis. You're doing it because you think it's the right thing, because your dad's telling you it's the right thing. You're doing what you're doing right now because you're pandering to your boss even though you don't believe in it. This is how it's gonna play out. You are doing things right now. Yesterday, you made a decision that you don't believe in, but you're smart. You did it because you know how your company scores. Here's the problem with disruption and innovation. Right now, you're being rewarded for being a yes person, and in 36 months, you're gonna be fired for being a yes person. And you're doing it because you just need the security of your job. I'm telling you right the f now, if you're watching this vlog and you've got, like, that means you have a certain DNA. Please, I implore you, please die on your sword, not somebody else's. If you're gonna lose, it's much more fun to lose based on what you thought. Do you know how many of you are gonna lose on somebody else's thesis? It's gonna kill at you, it's gonna eat at you, it's going to be the worst feeling, so please, pause this video right now and ask yourself, am I doing my shit because of me? Then you're good, whether you're winning or losing. Or am I doing it because somebody else is telling me it's the right way? Or I'm subconsciously pandering to please somebody or something because I need the short-term stability. Figure that the f out. You know it and I know it. You just need to do something about it. If you're not great at it, but you love it more than life, should you go after it? To me, the answer is yes. The problem is, please also recognize you're probably not gonna get rich. Like, if you love basketball more than life, it's just what you always loved, you might just make $49,000 a year being a basketball coach and having a lot of time on your hand to play basketball. It's just, you gotta understand, you can't have everything all the time, always. It's just life. I think happiness trumps everything. Easy for me to say because it really worked out for me because happiness coincides with financial upside. I have friends who make $74,000 a year that are just happier people than friends that are making 18 million a year that are not. You've got to do you, but please don't let the entrepreneurial society, don't let me, don't let your parents push you into what success is. It's different for all of us, but, and this is the big but, you gotta be self-aware about it. I really think mindset is everything, and so you've gotta really decide are you gonna be positive about things or negative about things. am I thrilled that I have the ability to do things about it to make what I'm worried about better, or am I crippled by there's like these 7 things I need to fix tomorrow? I always choose positivity. I look at other people around me. It's not just about me that are winning. They choose positivity. I look at the people around me that are not winning, that are not progressing, that are not advancing. They're choosing negativity. It's stunningly binary. It's stunningly black and white. It's stunningly A or B. This is really up to you. And really, to be very honest, to be very frank, I think the biggest impact I'm having is I read all the emails, because I read a lot of them last night as well, is shifting that mindset and getting people into that and making them understand that they're in charge of that, and hacking and trying to pour out the negativity, dump a negativity, add a positivity, dump a negativity, add a positivity, dump a negativity, add a positivity. I'm a positivity to your world. That's what I'm pushing. That's my agenda, and that's why I think you're feeling the effects. And I think you need to find more of that in your partner, in your loved one, in your business partner, in your audience. So many people get 49 comments, 48 are phenomenal. One's like, you're a piece of shit, and they spend 80% of their time on that one comment. Please choose positivity, negativity. We're gonna make less money this year at 100 million than we made last year at 67. Net. I don't mean percentage. Net. Meaning they're in trouble. Them. I see it, which means I overinvested. More people, more capabilities, because I'm gonna take the whole pie. So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not worried about how much cash I'm gonna take home in 2016, because I can take a lot more in 2020 than it's much more fun to take home 44 million in 2020 than 3 million in 2017, 18, and 19, instead of 4 million in 20. Like, people are, 99% of the market is short term. And the 1% that isn't and has the talent wins every time. Which makes no sense, because unless you're gonna die, you should only play long term. There was a stat that some dude in Mexico City said, one of these like futurist type of characters, I'm sure he's smart. I have no idea who, but he was right before me as I was mic'd up, and he says, it's been scientifically proven, so I don't know if it has or not, because I've learned to take that with a grain of salt, but that 85% of what humans make decisions about is irrational. And that spoke to me, because A, I think it's higher, and B, it's why I think all my success is happening. The way I do branding, I sell so infrequently that I think some of you that are watching me the hardest core need to hear this, which is, it's okay to sell, especially if you believe in something. Like, if you believe in what you're selling, and that's what I'm spending a lot of time on now, trying to spend more time on really getting to a place where I really believe in stuff. Instead, I was just passive, not creating. So I wasn't selling because I didn't believe, and just letting everything come to me. But as I create these, events, Vayner Experience, a lot of events, very big on events. Events are so valuable. Just watching the 4Ds crew's value and like how it's impacting their business for $10,000 right there. I mean, you see, I know you're getting emails. The wine club, like $150 worth of wine for 55 bucks. Like, I've just locked in November's. It's gonna make all your Thanksgivings ridiculous. The conference, $500 2-hour session in my stomping grounds. Good deal compared to like other conferences that I speak at, but you're getting the wine for free, or you're getting the talk for free and you're getting the wine. So like, I'm very fascinated because I'm putting more pressure on myself to create things that I really believe in, which then allows me to sell more. And I just think for a lot of you, selling, the ask, the right hook is very difficult. You're passive. You like the idea of like feeling good about like giving out content, this and that. When you believe in something, you can sell it, and you should put more pressure on yourself to create things that you believe in. Biggest problem is so many of you sell shit you don't believe in. You're just doing it for the money. You're gonna lose. And that I don't like. A human being on earth. I'm just gonna say this, I mean, I don't think people think about this. You won the lotto. You, in the universe, you're not some weird specimen in Mars that does nothing. You're not, a bird. You're not a sunflower. Like, you are a human being on earth. You won the ultimate lottery, and you're not driven, and you're not fired up, and you're not going for it, and you're willing to sit like a lump and just wait till you die. You suck. Like, I don't know, you suck. Like, how do I stay driven? Because I couldn't even comprehend the alternative. One of the biggest things, you're still gonna need a real ninja there. It's like you may be thinking that I'm watching the show, but what I'm doing is what I always do, which is I'm reading your comments. YouTube, I've said it for all the new ones that are here. The comments are my oxygen. I don't think people understand how much qualitative feedback you get from comments, reading comments, watching the explore pages, looking at how you guys respond to my stuff and others. There's so many hours of consumption. You know, this is where I don't consume shows and things of that nature, because I spend so much time reading your feedback. As a collective, I consume you guys more than you consume me. And so I just highly recommend, when you have a small audience, like, you read every one of those comments, you engage with every one of those comments, brick by brick by brick. Eventually you can't reply to everybody, but like, you can always read a lot. I mean, I'm just reading all these comments. Treat your business like a second child. Nothing is perfect. Nothing in business is black and white. All the magic is in the gray. Have patience. Nothing is the worst thing that ever happened, and nothing is the best thing that ever happened. Celebrating the way you raised money is just the beginning. Being devastated and thinking it's over when you lost the deal is not the true reality. It's always somewhere in the middle, and if you understand how to raise a second child and realize the differences of, cool, it's eating dirt over there. Little Timmy's eating dirt, and that's okay, but you would have never let big sister Janet do that. That's the same way I think you need to look at your business. Nothing is the end of the world, and nothing is the greatest thing of all time. Embracing the chaos, embracing the nimbleness, embracing the things that you can't control is the complete definition of a leader that is going to be able to navigate through the chaotic, never predictable business world. So relax, grab a coffee, take a shot of vodka. It's all gonna be okay. Treat your business like a second child.
And so my kind of philosophy I'm adopting now is like,
if it's fun,
it's probably worth doing.
You know why that happens? It's a bigger macro situation. Because it's fun, you're willing to work your face off.
Right.
And working your face off is actually the gateway. It's not the fun. The fun is the doorway that gets you to put in the work that gets you the results. Because D-Rock loves filming, like the 24/7 nature of what he does is, you know, is why so many kids want to film and do this, but they don't want to, it's not fun enough for them. You have to love it. So, the cost of entry now is, you see, understand? You have to love, like for me, building brands, whether it's my own brand, brands for other people, other things, the wine, it's so the only thing I give a shit about that I'm willing to put in the 19 that it takes.
Right.
Because the problem is now with the internet, like we were just saying, being the middleman, and everybody can play, there's some kid in Kansas City who's gonna put in the 19.
100%.
Right.
Might have put in 20.
And I don't want any of you little to take my Now what's amazing is though, the biggest thing I didn't know is that's some fun, but there's so much that all those little that are gonna put in the 19 are gonna get theirs too, and that makes me happy.
Yeah.
So I would say fun's a great gateway to, fun is the precursor to ridiculous amount of work, which then gets you there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm in music, I wish I could rap because I know I could be humongous because all I would do is make music and then lay in bed for 11 hours, try to hack on social media, get in my recognized, notice. You're one person away, one piece of content away. You just gotta make it. And what's amazing about music, and I think everybody, I don't like speaking about shit I don't know, so I don't want to speak to it, but one thing I do know is I believe that every artist that ever lived had a lot more songs in their dome than ever saw the day of life because of the way it worked, right? Now, everybody's fancy, everybody's trying to understand supply and demand. I don't think people understand how busy the world is. The world's so busy, there's so much that I'm a big fan of telling people to put out music, like every week. Like if you've got it like that, you know, some people don't have it, I don't know. But if you've got it like that, put it out. People are hungry for it. And every time you put out, that's giving you another at bat. I think there will be a big time artist in the next decade that puts out a song a day.
Regularly say that failure propels you. Are there any instances in your past truly where you couldn't get over it and why?
Nope.
And that's why they
I mean, by the way, That's the same answer for everybody in this room. That's what humans are good at. We all fail. We've all failed. Like, my parents haven't been killed, my child, I mean, there's people that have their children die. Like, could you imagine? Like, the shit I deal, listen, unfortunately, or fortunately, depends on how one wants to look at it, I'm a pretty optimistic guy. I lost 3 of my 4 grandparents before I knew them. 2 before I was born and 1 very early on. Like, so, you know, it's easy for me to be happy. I have my shit in the right order. The health and well-being of my family. And there's nothing even remotely close to that. Not even remotely. People have gotten through much worse. This is why I'm trying to recall our grandparents and our great-grandparents. People were persecuted and killed. Like, we do not have real headaches. I don't know why I have this highly emotional and then completely unemotional part of me, but I mix them together to create the balance, and that's what works for me. So, of course there's nothing that I couldn't get up from. Like every other human ever besides somebody who now lives in some weird cave that we don't know about. You know what I mean?
I do.
We are strong as shit. We're really strong. We're just being sold that we're not, because there's a lot of money in telling us that we're not pretty enough, thin enough, smart enough, good enough. That. I want to tell you, you're the best. Go do shit. You have to reverse engineer who you're trying to get to. You know, if you're a salesperson out there right now, if you're trying to get to me, and so many of you are, I get 50, 70 bulk emails, bulk direct messages, bulk Twitter direct messages, Instagram, business cards, all sorts of weird stuff sent in the mail. I'm busy.
Right.
I'm busy, and like, I'm just not interested in you selling to me, not because I don't like you, because I respect the game, it's because I'm just busy. Mm-hmm. It's nothing personal. So I think the first thing you have to do is reverse engineer the person. You know, because I'm not in the market to buy anything, I'm gonna be tougher. But if I need certain software, if I need something, that's a good time to attack.
Right.
So I think the #1 rule of salespeople is to listen. Know your audience. Know what they did. If you see an M&A just happen, if you see layoffs just happening, if you see if I see Burger King doing something, I'm thinking, what does McDonald's think of this?
Right.
I think a lot of you are doing things that are directly in front of you. Numbers that they put in front of you, you're trying to achieve that because you have a beach house you want to buy or go on that vacation. Sales is a funny game if you work in a big company. They manipulate numbers to create your actions. I believe that the best salespeople are doing things in a different way. I think you need to care about the customer for real, reverse engineer them, and give them what they need. Just talk to you guys about why Toys R Us filing Chapter 11 matters. Toys R Us did 2 things over the last couple decades that make no sense. One, very early in the 2000s, they outsourced themselves to Amazon. They didn't believe in the internet. 17 years ago, so they let Amazon do their fulfillment, which started people getting used to buying toys on the internet through an Amazon world. But most importantly, they just didn't innovate. You know, and when you don't innovate, you die. Like, you could have made Toys R Us 3 years ago could have created the national Lego championships, and everybody would be, there was a million, they could have made slime centers. They could be killing it right now with their locations, but no, they choose to just like sell toys out of it, and none of you want to go there. First of all, you're going to go to Walmart and pick it up for less money anyway, while you pick up your groceries and anything else, and if you even want to leave your home, and you don't, and so you'll go to Amazon and do it that way, or buy it from somebody's YouTube channel link, or Instagram account. It's the best example right now of like how in trouble everybody is if they rest on their laurels. You know, if Toys R Us, the dominant niche retail leader of a humongous multi-billion-dollar category, is finished, what do you think is going to happen over the next 6 years?
How many people in this room are immigrants or children of immigrants? Please raise your hand. Just curious. So for the hands that are in this room, they know something that I know, which is immigrants have an amazing advantage. They have a very tried and true strategy that we could all learn from. What immigrants are very good at doing is when they come to a new country, they work and they don't spend any money on dumb shit for 10 years. And so that's what my parents did. And eventually my dad was able to buy a small liquor store in New Jersey. I was a very entrepreneurial kid. I was day trading attention from a young age. I had 6 lemonade stands when I was 7 years old, and I would spend all my time trying to figure out what tree and what pole to put the signs on, because I was watching people drive and trying to figure out what signs. I was a very sick child. When I was 12 and 13, I was selling baseball cards, which were very popular in the United States at the time, and I was making $1,000 to $2,000 a weekend selling them in the malls of New Jersey, which was great, and I was rich for a young kid, and it was fantastic. But then my career changed. My dad dragged me into the liquor store, and I hated it at first, but luckily I realized that people collected wine. I was into collecting sports memorabilia. That was my passion, that was the connection. And I decided that I was gonna jump into my family business, open up 4,000 liquor stores across America, sell the franchise one day, and buy the New York Jets American football team, because that is my dream. You two stand up, you two stand up. Let's clap it up for these guys. In 1994, I was in my dorm room in college. My friend came over to me, and I want to start wrapping this up and getting it to what matters to you. He brought me into a room. It was the first time I heard coo-coo-ch, which was the internet. I was very excited about it. I didn't know what it was. I said something stupid like, is this the information superhighway? I looked at it. This is, there's a lot of youngsters in here. This was 1994. I literally stood there and watched people on the internet for 5 hours. It was that crazy. It was just that insane. It was so new. And when I finally had my turn to go on there, within 20 minutes, I landed on a message board where people were trading and buying in cards, baseball cards. And I realized, my God, I can do business on this thing. And over the next year, I went headfirst and learned about eBay, learned about what was going on in Amazon, started learning the early internet culture, and in 1996, I launched WineLibrary.com, one of the first 2 e-commerce wine businesses in America. From 1998 to 2003, in a 5-year window, I grew my dad's business from a $3 to a $60 million business on very, very important terms that matter to this entire room. I had no money. It was a $3 million business that had 10% gross profit, $300,000 before expenses. There was no marketing budget. What I needed is to make every penny work like a dollar. So the strategy became day trading attention. When you day trade attention, my friends, here's what you do. You don't overspend on what everybody believes is tried and true. Every single company in this gorgeous conference right now is grossly overspending money on things that they've been doing for the last decade, because it's the things that they accept, or the reporting justifies it, or they're just lazy to try something new. Everyone. And so what you do when you day trade attention is you have to find angles. What's underpriced? How many people here do email marketing or have done email marketing in their lives? Raise your hands. Perfect, a lot of you. In 1997, I started an email newsletter. Most people that came into my liquor store didn't even know what email was in 1997. I collected, and in 1998, I had a 200,000 person email newsletter with 91% open rates. Now, it's not because I was a genius, and I know a lot of you sit here just like I do with emails that are 13 to 23% open rates today. It's that in 1997, nobody was emailing. We hadn't ruined it yet. One thing I promise you, more than I know that the sun will come up tomorrow, I know that marketers ruin everything. We ruined the internet. I'm trying to ruin Snapchat and Musical.ly right now. We ruin shit. It's what we do. So it was 91% open rates there. Then Google AdWords came out. I bought the word wine on Google AdWords for 5 cents a click and owned it for 9 months before anybody bid me up, because people were still on Yahoo and Ask Jeeves and other shit like that. And so that became the rinse and repeat. As I think about B2B players in this environment, it is stunning to me how many B2B businesses here do not understand that producing articles on medium.com, on LinkedIn, writing full content on Facebook in your feed, and then spending $100 in ads against employees of the company that you're trying to reach. Let me say that 3 more times, because the one thing I promised myself as I boarded last night in New York to get here is, I'm gonna give my talk, but I'm gonna give every single person in this audience one thing to take home, do, and then email and say thank you. So let me say it really slow. Right now, on this day, October 6th, right? Is that right? October 6th, 2016, the #1 deal, if you day trade attention like I do, in this market is Facebook ads. They are underpriced. They are underpriced because a lot of people in this room still debate what the ROI is, or even worse, they're emotional that Facebook organic reach has come down and now they have to pay for it. While you're emotional and sad that you don't reach as many things, the best ad product that I've seen since Google AdWords has emerged. Or even worse than both of those two scenarios, you haven't even done it yet. You've decided for your business, your customer is not on that platform, yet you've never spent $1 testing it to know if that's true or not. You've read a headline, you had a friend tell you, but you actually don't do it and you're not sure. We live in a world right now of headline readers. Everybody here has a lot of opinions about Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram and influencer and LinkedIn and Medium, but there's very few practitioners. There's very few people that have actually placed the ads. There are very few people that understand that the creative is the variable when you place an ad, and just because you did it once doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It might mean that the creative, the video and the picture that you put out just sucked. And so, as I go through all the other things, just in the middle here for a few minutes, I just want to tell you exactly what I know. What I know is I'm involved with 15 different B2B businesses right now. GE is a client, AT&T is a client, but many startups that I invest in, because I also in my mid-2000s started investing in Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, Uber. I've done very well in that world. I basically just told you that to brag. That had no information value. But what I know about these B2B businesses is right now, every single person here can write an article about their expertise in the business that they're in. Not a propaganda for your SaaS product or service, but an article that would be valuable to the people that you're trying to reach. You can write this article literally in a Facebook post, literally in a Facebook post. And then you can go to the ad product and you can actually target employees of. One of the ways you can target on Facebook is the employees of an organization. How many people here are in B2B? Raise your hand. Higher. Go high for me, Helsinki. Higher again. Show me again. I need to look. High. Perfect. A shitload. A lot of you. All of you need to hear this. This is the remarkable era of underpriced opportunity in digital and social marketing, yet I'm empathetic to why most of you do not believe that. I get it. Most of the advice, most of the conferences, most of the articles position this in a B2C environment. I know, for example, the following, that if I was to buy one of your companies, the #1 thing I would do is the following. Every one of you are in an industry where there is a B2B magazine that is the #1 thing that the people in your market read. If you are a company trying to reach customers, I would become that magazine. Let me explain. The other religious point of view that this room needs to take away from this talk, this weekend, or at some point you will believe this is true, whether it is today or 12 or 24 months from now, 36 months from now, is the following. The quicker everybody in this room understands that they are a media company, comma, software company, comma, wine retailer, comma, lawyer, comma, account service provider, the quicker everybody in this room understands that they are a media company, comma, those things, the quicker you will be successful. I will tell you why. You told me that earlier they said the ad was dead. You said the ad is gotta be creative and good, give it to the creatives. I believe more in your world, and I'll just add to it. The ad has to bring value. The #1 thing that is happening in society in every part of the world is the following. We as human beings, no matter where we're from, we value health. We want to stay alive, and the people, money, you like money. But the #1 emerging thing in society, in value, is time. time is exploding in value to us because we all now live in a 24/7, 365 world. Some of the old timers in this room, remember when the workday ended and it just ended? It wasn't getting emails at night, people expecting you to reply. We now live in a 24/7 world. As a matter of fact, one of the great mistakes of my investing career is Travis Kalanick, the CEO of Uber, was a very great friend of mine. I passed on investing in Uber in the angel round twice. I cost myself hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm very upset about it. But I invested a little bit later on, not because Uber was doing so well, but because I realized when he came to New York and my brother AJ took the first Uber ride, oh my God, Uber doesn't sell transportation, Uber sells time. We don't care about privacy, we care about time. This is who we are as humans. And what advertising is doing in the last 50 years is it's stopping you from doing what you wanna do, and it's selling you something, which means by nature, it is stealing your time. Which is why the second you decide that you're a media company and you actually want to bring people value instead of selling them something, you win. If you run home now and misunderstood what I said, which is why I'm creating clarity right now for you. If you leave here and misunderstood what I said, you will go home, you will make a Facebook post, and you will write a propaganda or sales post, and you will push it, and it will not be successful. If you heard me loud and clear and understand who you're trying to reach, and you write an article about something that brings them value, you will win. For example, a small business in the United States that heard this talk 3 years ago from me started writing content about golf. They were a law firm, but what they understood was the people they were trying to reach were into golf. And they started writing content about golf and use that content as a gateway drug to close the clients. Because people don't wanna read your sales pitch. They don't have time. People wanna read something that brings value. And the interesting thing about so many of you in the B2B environment is you're actually an expert or knowledgeable about your craft. You actually know. And so putting that content to work is massively important. It was super important for me 6, 7 years ago. That was nothing compared to the ability of going and now targeting the employees of the organization that you're trying to reach. For example, if you're trying to reach the CTO or the CIO, or if you actually know the title of the person you're trying to reach, you were able to make a video on Facebook that shows the value prop of your product. You were able to then in the copy say, does your CIO know? You were able to then run $100 worth of ads against the employees of that organization, and then 20 people from that organization are gonna take that post and forward it to the CIO, the CTO, the head of finance, or whoever you're trying to reach. My friends, I've spent the last 7 minutes here on this rant, and I understand it's very tactical and it's not motivational and funny, but I fucking promise you that if you really understand what I'm talking about, you will do what you actually care to do, which is sell shit, right? We're running businesses here. So please, please understand that, because once you understand what I just spent my time on, how that works, you'll start understanding why every company here needs to hire an editor-in-chief. An editor-in-chief for your SaaS business, your law firm. An editor-in-chief, it's crazy. It's not something any of you would think, and I understand why, but you have to understand the playing field is changing.